Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I request Dr. Mukuldas, Director, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, and Dr. Manmohan Kumar, Deputy Director, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, to kindly escort the dignitaries to take the chair at the dais, please. The dignitaries are Professor Pramod Kumar Garg, Padma Bhushan Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma ji, Shri Alok B. Shriram ji, Shri Madhav B. Shriram ji. Respected Professor Pramod Kumar Garg, Head, Department of Gastroenterology, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, and Chief Guest of today's Founder Memorial Lecture. Padma Bhushan Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma, Chairperson, Governing Board, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research. Shri Alok B. Shriramji, Vice Chairman, Governing Board, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research. Shri Madhav B. Shriramji, Mentor, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, Delhi. Our other esteemed members of the Governing Board, members of Research Advisory Committees, Dr. Mukuldas, Director, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, Dr. Manmohan Kumar, Deputy Director, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, invited dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. I, Leena Thabar from Shriram Institute, feel honored to welcome you all today to this Shriram Founder Memorial Lecture 2024. On this memorable occasion marking the 140th birth anniversary of our illustrious founder, Lala Sir Shriramji, we pay our respectful homage to him today by organizing this 58th Founder Memorial Lecture in the series. Lala Sir Shriramji, one of the foremost business visionaries of India, left an indelible imprint of his personality upon the whole canvas of Indian industry. Due to his sustained interest in technical advances and passion for industrial research, he came to be regarded as the father of industrial research in India. He could foresee the need for a strong and self-reliant research and development base in the country and thus founded Shriram Institute for Industrial Research in 1947. Which has been operating as a premier self-supporting institute in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Akshay Dhar. He is a mentor, Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, Bangalore. Shriram Institute for Industrial Research was not only started by him, but also flourished greatly under his vision, resolute interest, and generous support. Since 1965, every year, scientific and technical lectures have been delivered by eminent personalities from across the globe, thereby making this a major scientific event of the country. Today's Founder Memorial Lecture is being delivered by Honorable Professor Pramod Kumar Garg, Head, Department of Gastroenterology, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, who is a renowned physician-scientist with seminal research contribution in the field of pancreatic diseases and has developed newer effective therapies for patients with pancreatitis. During the COVID pandemic, he contributed significantly to the research including vaccine effectiveness and development of new vaccines. In today's lecture, Professor Garg will share his vast knowledge and experience in the subject with us through his lecture entitled Improving Human Health Through Biomedical Research, Future Beckons Us. Across diverse cultures and traditions, the act of lighting a lamp holds a multitude of profound implications and resonances representing the triumph of knowledge over ignorance and light over darkness. We now will be beginning the program by lighting of the ceremonial lamp. May I request our dignitaries on the dais to kindly do the honors by lighting the lamp, please. To pay homage and tribute to our founder, may I request Dr. Mukuldas, Director, to kindly garland the bust of Lala Sir Shriram ji. Thank you, sir. May I now request our chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma, to facilitate our guest speaker, Professor Pramod Kumar Garg, by presenting a bouquet to him, please. Divine blessings of Lord Ganesha purifies the soul of the worshippers. Before we embark on our journey today, we'll begin with the Ganesh Vandana, an expression of our profound reverence for the Lord. I now invite our scientist on stage to perform the Ganesh Vandana, please. Thank you, SRIs, for the great club dinner. I now request respected Mukul Das sir to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Lina. Our esteemed guest speaker of the afternoon, Professor Pramod Garg, respected Chairperson Padma Bhushan, Dr. Manju Sharma, Shri Alok Shriram, Vice Chairman and Mentor, Shriram Institute, Gurugram, Shri Madhav Shriram, Mentor, Shriram Institute, Delhi, Shri Akshay Dharji, Mentor, Shriram Institute, Bangalore, Dr. Manmohan, my colleague from Shriram Institute, Deputy Director, members of Governing Board and Research Council of Shriram Institute, distinguished guests, dignitaries from various embassies and high commissions, faculty members from universities, colleges and research institutions, members of electronic and print media, my dear colleagues of SRI, and my dearest students. A very good afternoon to all of you. Today, as we assemble here, we gather to pay tribute to the remarkable legacy of our esteemed founder, Sir Shriram, on the eve of his 140th birth anniversary. It is truly an honor to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to this esteemed gathering celebrating the occasion of the 58th Shriram Founder Memorial Lecture. Sir Shriram was not only a visionary far ahead of his time, but also a successful industrialist and a builder of institutions. He laid the foundation for several academic and cultural institutions, including our institute, that is Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, during the pivotal juncture in our nation's history, that is during the transition to independence. Even in those formative years, Sir Shriram, affectionately known as Lala Shriramji, foresaw that India to forge ahead and achieve self-reliance, innovation, and the pragmatic application of technology to everyday life, and common concerns were of paramount importance. This pioneering spirit continues to animate the ethos of Shriram Institute. The torch of Lala Shriram's vision was further kindled by the able stewardship of Lala Bansidhar, propelling Shriram Institute to ever greater heights. Today, under the dynamic leadership of Shri Alok Shriramji, Shri Madhav Shriramji, and Shri Akshay Dharji, this noble legacy continues to flourish. In the past year, that is 2023 and 24, scientists of Shriram Institute have made significant strides, publishing several research papers in high impact factor journals, and they were able to grant 2 patents also this year, while 4 more patents have been submitted. Additionally, they have delivered numerous oral presentations and lectures at the conferences and at several events. During the past year, 5 scientists of the Institute were awarded PhD, and 1 staff member was awarded MBA degree. One of our colleagues, Dr. Dushyant Singh, received the Senior Scientist Award from Environment and Social Development Association during World Environment Summit 2023 in New Delhi. As many as 13 trainings related to water quality monitoring and wastewater treatment were given to the chemists and engineers of all these states of the country under the Jal Jeevan Mission program, which is going to be soon completed in the year 2024. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs empaneled Shriram Institute as the Swachhata Knowledge Partner to build the capacity of urban local bodies in the area of water management for the next 3 years. Our Technology Business Incubation Center partnered with DST and other agencies in organizing a global summit on sustainability with the main focus on waste to wealth at Vigyan Bhavan, Delhi. In the fast developing era of techno-commercial and awareness activities, we have to work in collaborative teams. Hence, we had MOUs with Dayal Singh College, Shri Venkateshwara College, both from University of Delhi, Shri Kushal Das University from Rajasthan, Shri Shankaracharya Institute of Professional Management and Technology from Raipur, and University of Delhi itself. Apart from that, we had MOUs with Engineering Export Promotion Council, India, and National Highways Authority of India, NHAI. As we embark on this journey, guided by the able leadership of Dr. Manju Sharma, let us remember that while the sands of time have shifted over the 7 decades of our existence, the unwavering vision of Sir Shriram continues to light our path, addressing the exigencies of society even in the present day. Today, it is with great pleasure that we welcome Professor Pramod Garg, our distinguished speaker, who will deliver a lecture dedicated to the memory of our founder. I am confident that this insight will captivate and enlighten us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request respected Padma Bhushan Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma ji to kindly introduce the speaker.
A very good evening to all the distinguished participants, and my most respectful regards to the founder, Lala Shriram ji. It's really with great pleasure, I can't tell you how happy I am to introduce Professor Pramod Garg, who is an outstanding medical professional and a researcher of very high quality. His diverse publications show the diversity of his work and his understanding of the medical issues of general nature and scientific aspects. He has been and continues to be associated with many science departments and institutions, DBT, DST, ICMR, AIMS, etc. Everybody likes to consult him. Some of his present projects in which he is working, at least 2 to 3 of them are very important. A prospective cohort study to evaluate the severity and outcomes of the SARS-CoV infection and correlation of clinical outcomes with virus variants. This is supported by the Department of Biotechnology, and they consider this as a very important project. Center for Advanced Research and Excellence in Pancreatic Diseases. This is another project he is doing. Joint Center on Reducing Cancer Mortality and Immune Pathways in Chronic Pancreatitis. So these are just a few examples I have given you. He's working on many such projects. on a personal basis, I want to say that he is a remarkable human being, a compassionate, sincere to patients, and a very patient-friendly doctor. I think if you go to AIMS, one name which everybody knows is Professor Pramod Garg. And that is the best part of it, and you all, we are very proud in Shriram Institute to have you here, Professor Garg. Also, I would once again emphasize that it is rare to find a medical practitioner of the type Professor Garg is, who not only understands the disease, but also is concerned about the feelings of the patients. This is his remarkable quality. Everybody who consults him is full of praise and always satisfied with his diagnosis and treatment. I have never heard an advanced remark. I'm sure all of us would sincerely wish him and his family a long, productive, and very, very successful life. May God shower all his blessings on this wonderful human being. And I will, of course, on a personal basis, always wish him the very best the future can give him and the best that life can give him. My sincere wishes and best of luck to Professor Pramod Garg.
Thank you, ma'am. As the audience is keen to listen to, I now request Professor Pramod Kumar Garg to deliver today's Founder Memorial Lecture on improving human health through biomedical research, future beckons us. Please give a warm welcome to him.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, madam, for these very kind words. I'm not sure I deserve much of these, but it is your kindness which has led me to say this. My profound thanks to the Shriram Institute of Industrial Research, Shri Alok and Shri Madhav Ramji, Shri Dharsa, Madam Manju Sharma, who has been the person behind my giving this Founder Memorial Lecture, Dr. Mukul Das, Dr. Kumar, all the distinguished guests, scientists, students, ladies and gentlemen. I really feel humbled here today giving this Founder Memorial Lecture. COVID-19 for about 3 years led us to understand biomedical science and human health in a different angle. It has shifted attention and focused our efforts in the direction of biomedical research and human health. And I thought that today, if I speak on improving human health through biomedical research, that would be an appropriate topic. But first of all, let me pay my regards and homage to Lala Shriramji, who founded the institute in 1947, a very important landmark here in our history. He believed that if India has to catch up with the rest of the world, it was necessary to understand existing technology and innovate it through research. This is what I came to know about, and this is what I'm going to talk about today. I didn't know that he had said this. He established Commercial Education Trust and he was the chairman of the governing body of Ramjas and Hindu College and other colleges in Delhi University. And there is something in it that I'm going to refer later in my talk. He was also a founder member of CIA, FICCI and PhD CCI, and played a key role in the growth of modern India. The word is modern India, and what he used to say was management in business is essentially a matter of human relations. He was a visionary, philanthropist, and institutional builder. Now these ideals will resonate what I'm going to talk about today, and that's the reason I've highlighted some of these aspects. The outline of my talk would be the state of India's current health, opportunities and barriers, biomedical research and health, the role of stakeholders, and there are many stakeholders, and what does the future hold for us. So there are two very important parameters by which one can judge the health of a nation. One is the infant mortality rate. If you look here, the infant mortality rate in the beginning of this last century was 220 per 1,000 births. That means 1 in 4 newborn was expected to die. And over the years, it has decreased now in India to 25 per 1,000 live births. But compare this with the developed world, where it is less than 10 per 1,000 births. So we have way to go. The second important parameter is the life expectancy at birth. And if you look here, it was about 40 years in 1950s, and gradually it has risen to 70 years at present, give and take one year or so. But again, if you see the life expectancy in the developed world, it is about 80 years. So we have come a long way, but I think we still have to catch up. So there have been significant positive change in India over the years for many reasons. One is economic growth, enhanced healthcare delivery and access, and advances in medical sciences. And I'll dwell on these one by one. If you see the economic growth of the country, India's GDP has risen over the years. And if you see here, for example, in 2000, it was below $500 million. And today it is touching $4 trillion. If you look at the per capita, which is I think more important than the overall size of the economy, in India it is about $2,800 US, but in terms of purchasing power parity, it is $9,000 US. But again, in the developed world, it ranges from $40,000 to $80,000 US. So again, we have a lot to catch up, but over last about 20 years or so, we have actually gained a lot. That is one reason why our state of health has also improved. There is decline in poverty from 25% to 15% as per the multidimensional poverty index. And that also shows you how so many millions of people have come out of poverty. The second is the advances in medical sciences. Now, overall mortality has decreased because of various diseases all across the world, not just in India, but all across the world, and because of early diagnosis of disease and also very effective treatment. For example, today, someone as an adult, if he catches HIV infection, unfortunately, he or she is expected to live a normal life. 25 years ago, it was a death certificate written. But this is how medical science has advanced. Now, if you look at the decline in annual death rate from various diseases per 100,000 people in the world, you find here, for example, cardiovascular disease was a major killer, but over a period of time it has decreased significantly, and so has been the case with many other diseases. In particular, from cancer, which actually is rising. So the incidence of cancer is rising all over the world, but if you look at the mortality due to cancer, it is decreasing, and for many diseases actually decreased significantly. So that is the reason, that is because of the advances in medical science. The third reason for improvement in health status is healthcare delivery in India. If you look at the number of primary health centers, there were initially only about 77. There are now 31,000 all across the country. The doctor-patient ratio was 1:6,300. Now it is 1:1,800. It is actually improved now. The number of AIIMS, which is a tertiary care academic center, was only 1 in Delhi. Now there are 22. And at least 14 or 15 of them are functioning very well. I have been associated personally with 3 of them, and I know how they're providing very efficiently tertiary care services to so many poor people. The ASHA workers have now increased to 10 lakhs in the country, from a few thousand to 10 lakhs. That's important. Why these ASHA workers? these are actually accredited social health activists. ASHA is a short acronym for that. Why it is important? Because they are trained to provide services in areas where formal doctors may not be available. And how this could be important? So there was a study published in the journal Science in 2016 by none other than Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee and his colleagues. In fact, Abhijit Chaudhary here, if you see, is a colleague of mine. He's also a gastroenterologist in Calcutta. They showed the impact of trained informal healthcare providers in India through a randomized trial. By the way, randomized trial, I'll refer to that later also, is the most important robust type of study design. And they showed that if you train these people to provide healthcare delivery in the community, they can achieve correct diagnosis and effective delivery of treatment in about 75% of cases. So this is how ASHA workers and other trained healthcare workers are providing services in the country, and I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2017. The government expenditure on health has also increased from 1.3% earlier, say about 8 or 10 years ago, to 2.1% of GDP. Now this 2.1% may not look very high, but if you look at the size of the economy, which was there earlier about $1 trillion, now it is $4 trillion. So there is a huge jump in the overall expenditure on health. Then Ayushman Bharat, and I am witness to this because now so many patients are being treated through Ayushman Bharat. Total about 55 crore people have been covered by this, and I'm sure there must be deficiencies in different areas. But now I see those patients, and we find that they are being supported heavily through this. However, if we compare ourselves with the developed world, and that's what I think we should be looking at. We shouldn't be looking at and just saying that we have done well. There is still a long way to go. India is lagging behind the developed world in many ways. Tuberculosis, for example, is still a major killer in this country. Stunting in children, growth retardation, is 31% under 5 children, in under 5 children. That's a shame on us. Access to quality medicine is still suboptimal if you look at across the country, and still there is a high out-of-pocket expenditure. What are the reasons for that? Reasons one, we always say we have a huge population, still people are poor, there is no treatment for many diseases, and treatment is expensive. For example, there's a disease called hepatitis C virus, for which a new treatment came in, and the price of one tablet in the United States was $1,000. I mean, people in the US couldn't afford it. Now, of course, over a period of time, it has come down. Immunotherapy, you must have heard it and read it in papers also, what is known as CAR T-cell therapy for leukemia, that's a kind of blood cancer, is upwards of $1 million in the US. Who can afford it? So these are the reasons why there is still a major problem. The other problem is we are happy that we are somewhere around $4 trillion, but we are low middle income country. So what people say, will India avoid this so-called middle income trap? And I think it's a big challenge. When you say we are somewhere here and we want to go there, there's a huge jump that is required. And of course, what got you here won't get you there. That's a very famous saying, and I like that. So we have to do something extra to reach that level. So what are those things? We need to generate more wealth. We need to educate people. We need to emphasize skill development, invest more in manufacturing, and that is what is happening in India now, and also research and innovation, and that's the focus of my talk. So in the beginning, I mentioned some things about Lala Shriramji, and you see here that he actually invested in innovation, research, education, manufacturing, industry, and generation of wealth. And this is why it is very important for us to understand how these things are going to take us forward in the next decades. So coming to biomedical research, which I think is the most important thing, there are many issues. Why research? Are we equipped for research? And what is the role of stakeholders? And there are many stakeholders. So many of you would know that after the Second World War, Winston Churchill said about Russian actions, it's a riddle wrapped in enigma and shrouded in mystery. But he also said that perhaps there is a key. And when we talk about complex diseases and their treatment, the key is research. And that's what I think is very important. The question often asked, what is research? So research is that I don't know something about an issue, and this issue can be medical, could be social, could be economic, and you do some kind of experiment, collect some data, and that provides new knowledge or new facts. So philosophy, or also called love of wisdom, is the study of fundamental issues such as knowledge, morality, reason, experience, and beliefs. And this applies to art, politics, and science. That is why you get this degree of PhD, right? So there are two theories of acquiring knowledge. One is rationalism or reason, and the other is empiricism. Rationalism or reason believes in intuitive knowledge and deductive reasoning. It exists a priori and not dependent on our senses. It is something what is applied to, say, mathematics. Empiricism, on the other hand, is knowledge acquired through experience or senses. And in the current era of modern research, this comes from what we call as observational studies, cohort studies. This is how you develop knowledge empirically. Sextus Empiricus, 2000 years ago, was a proponent of medicine based on experience, and that was observations. And this is why we call it empirical. We sometimes say, I'm giving you treatment empirically. What does it mean? It means that it is based on our experience, observation, and studies. And that's why we use this term. So in the modern era, we believe in evidence-based medicine. And this evidence is obtained through a systematic study in an unbiased manner. And this is what is biomedical research. Sometimes people ask, why should we engage in research? And many people would say, particularly those in their formative years, my job is teaching and training, acquiring new knowledge. Sure, I can do that through latest books, journals, review articles. And I don't have time or resources for research. That's the prerogative of rich Western countries, right? But that's not the case. How do we create knowledge? It could be based on certain known facts, logic, deduction, and conclusion. And how it flows? It flows like this. You have so-called certain known facts, you apply some logic, deduce something out of it, and then conclude. Say, this is what it should be. What if that known fact wasn't actually a fact? It was wrong. So your whole argument falls, right? So I don't know how many have read this book, Freakonomics. In this, there is a story about an observation in US where crime rate fell sharply in the 1990s. The question was asked, why is that so? And of course, based on certain facts, logic, and deduction, many reasons were offered, such as police force was doubled, there were stringent laws, education level increased, and there was increased job creation. However, none of these hypotheses proved correct. So what actually turned out that the real reason was legalization of abortion in the United States in the 1960s and 70s. What was happening that there were many orphan children who had no care, no education, no job, and they went into crime. And after they legalized it, this problem came down sharp. And that resulted in crime rate falling. So now you see how systematic inquiry or research can tell you the fact, whether it is in the realm of social science or medical science. So this is how you create new knowledge and challenge the dogma. And this is what leads to innovation, which is so very important. So many of these students actually, when I interact with them, they often ask, why me? Why should I get into this? So there's a Nobel laureate Chilean poet, Pablo Neruda, who asked this, who am I? Why am I here? And actually, if you look at our ancient Indian philosophy, this is what we have learned. You have to ask, who am I? What am I doing? What's my duty? What's my dharma? So a scholar is someone who acquires knowledge, and I think as teachers and trainers, we have to acquire knowledge. All of us acquire knowledge through different ways, which is very, very important. But researcher is someone who creates that knowledge. And I think that's a very important distinction between a scholar and a researcher. So that's the reason why you should ask yourself, am I going to be just a scholar, or should I also engage in research and create new knowledge? The next question which is often asked is, are we really equipped for research? In this country I'm talking about. So you have all heard about the Chinese success stories. China was level with India in 1980s, and they invested hugely in research. And today, China has actually overtaken the United States. And US still is the leader. But see here, why is that so? This is the gross R&D expenditure worldwide, 2022. If you look here, US invested $679 billion in R&D. China closely followed, $551 billion. And if you look at India, only about $65 billion. And this is how you see the research output, publications and citations have increased. So China actually overtook US somewhere in 2019. India is far behind, although catching up. In fact, I'm happy that India is now kind of overtaking at least United Kingdom. So the investment in research and R&D is directly correlated to the output. I mean, this is no brainer, but I think it's always good to have data in front of you to say that is actually the case. Then the next question is, should India launch a lunar mission, do liver transplant, or provide drinking safe water? This is an endless debate, I can tell you, in all academic circles. No, we don't have safe drinking water. We're talking about liver transplant and lunar mission. Always this is an issue. But what happened when India's first rocket was launched? This was taken actually by bicycle. This is a very famous photograph. I'm sure many of you must have seen it. So this is what is frugal innovation. You can always do frugal innovation. And now we all know the India success stories, whether it is in space and defense, and we are among the best in the world. And Chandrayaan-3 of course proved that right. And in medicine also there are many success stories. Iodine supplementation, I'll tell you about that. Diarrhea in children with high mortality. Oral rehydration solution was developed in India and also in Bangladesh, which improved survival. There were many risk factors were known, and through systematic study we could overcome that. Then rotavirus vaccine was developed in India, and it has decreased childhood mortality. I'll give you this example, very, very important example of iodine. This is a major success story. So iodine, it was realized in 1916 that there is a thyroid disease which is called as goiter. Thyroid gland swells up. It was a major problem in Himachal and many other parts of the world, country. And it was hypothesized it could be because of iodine deficiency, because that is what is required to produce that hormone, thyroid hormone. So in AIMS they did a randomized trial, very interesting randomized trial. They took many villages and randomized villages, one to iodized salt and one to normal salt. One village this, one village this. And over a period of time, they showed there was significant difference in the development of goiter. And that is how it informed national policy that now we have iodized salt all over. I will give an example of the disease that I studied, just a brief, which is called as chronic pancreatitis. Madam referred to that. There were certain myths and reality about this. Pancreas, as you all know, is an organ in the abdomen. It secretes digestive enzymes and insulin, and there are many diseases which can affect that. So there was a study from Kerala in India which showed that these are the people who are very young. They have a very far advanced disease. There were large stones in their pancreas, and cause was perhaps cassava, which was a staple diet there, and they died very early in their 20s and 30s. That was the report in 70s. And this is how they found very malnourished people, young, eating cassava, developing large stones, requiring insulin, often couldn't afford it, and died very early. But what we found that there was a changing profile of the disease. We see much older patients, they were well-nourished, they had genetic mutations to account for this, and not cassava, but alcohol was one of the causes, and with effective treatment we could increase their survival. And we found these two genes which are causing the disease in them. And this picture will tell you so much about the disease. This is a patient in 1970s, and this is a patient who was taken a picture in 2010. See the marked difference in their nutritional profile, in their overall appearance, and these are the patients who now live much longer. At least they will live up to their 60s, if not longer. This is what we have seen in our studies. What are the reasons for this change? And the reason for change is rapid economic development. And I'll again show you some data from state of Kerala. So if you see the state of Kerala, Kerala state GDP in 1970s was $320 million. It has risen to $13 billion in 2000s. And the per capita income increased from $15 to $525. 40-fold increase. And that's what resulted in changing phenotype and outcome of the disease. And with this, we saw increase in their age of onset, their well-nourished, their BMI, and also their longevity. But there was a flip side to this development. Very interesting. In Kerala, they never used to see alcohol-related pancreatitis. And from 2%, it jumped to 33%. Diabetes, which was much lower, as about 7%, increased to 11% in the adult population. So this is part of the flip side of the development. So we could better characterize disease and provide better treatment to improve their survival through our systematic study. And if you look at the publications from different parts of the country, from various college institutions, India, there are a large number of publications. In fact, one report suggested that we are not too far behind the developed world and best universities in the world, including Mass General and Mayo Clinic. And how does research help stakeholders? This is again no-brainer. We all know science, biomedical science, increase your improved health, improved economy, which again feeds into it, and there is a gain all around. So major stakeholders are government, academia, and public. Now, what is the role of institution? And again, I said in the beginning that Lala Shriramji actually invested in education and research, and that is why it is important, the role of institution, that we have to provide the right research environment. And I'm very happy that I'm here in Hindu College in the DU, where so many students are there. It's a thriving place for academics and also, to my mind, research. And your curiosity to derive research should be improved, and institutions should help you in that. All kinds of support should be provided by enabling an ecosystem, advocacy for research, generate more funds, sponsor research, and I think in India that's happening, and then dissemination of this knowledge. I'll speak for about a minute on the role of public at large. This is about the government, academia, and institution, but I think public is also very important to feed into this system. We must engage ourselves in research, whether or not you are a scientist or a medical doctor, I'll tell you how, and by participating in clinical trials and support funding for research. So what is a clinical trial? For example, in COVID, you must have heard this trial has been done for this vaccine and this vaccine. So you have a group of people who are given a vaccine, group of people are not given a vaccine, and then you find out over a 6-month period of time, how many develop COVID in this group, how many develop here, and then you find what's the efficacy of this vaccine. And then you take it. Someone has undergone that trial, but you take it because now you find it is effective. We take medicines which have been tested on thousands of patients all across the world. Isn't our duty to actually participate in that? Often they say, no, when I go to AIMS, वहाँ तो research करते हैं वो. भाई research नहीं करते हैं, हम आपके भलाई के लिए काम करते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो guinea pig बना रखा है. बिल्कुल नहीं है. So my message here is that you should be part of research, either in whatever capacity you want it to be, right? By the way, you might have seen this during the COVID time. So I don't think that is the case now, but it was at that time. The next issue is, do we have funds for research? Adequate funds. And I talked to you about that. India invested $65 billion and US was 10 times more. But I think we should also generate funds. Not only government funding agencies, but industry should come on board. There should be donors, more donors. And Lala Shriramji actually donated. creating endowment funds. Gates Foundation since 2000 is giving $77 billion. Wellcome Trust, established in 1936, gave $1.6 billion in 2022 alone. And closer to home, Chris Gopalakrishnan gave 700 crore rupees to Center for Brain Research at IIC Bangalore. So this is how I would urge public, those who kind of, support research in any way should do that. And for example, in AIMS, we have established AIMS Endowment Fund. You're all welcome to actually donate for a cause. And there are many other mechanisms, not only in AIMS, but other institutions as well. Now, a minute about the problem with scientists. Many times we say, I've done this research, I'm the best, I've done this, I've published this big paper. So one is a confirmation bias, and this is directed to all the scientists working in not only Shriram Institute, but other places also, that you try to find evidence to confirm your idea and concept. You think, I've found this, let me show how it is actually true. That's confirmation bias. And the second is narrative fallacy. What is that? You try and explain things without direct evidence because you think this is correct. So you will have a narrative around that so-called finding of yours. We should avoid that. And best way for that is you should be a skeptic. A skeptic is someone who doubts what is known and challenges dogma. And if you haven't read this book, I would strongly recommend that this book should be read. Black Swan by Nicholas Taleb. This is known, famous for something else, like a black swan as an event. But I think this has a profound message for researchers and scientists in general, and philosophy in general. So why do we need to do all that? This is to guide policy, which will increase more allocation of resources, improve health, and improve our economy overall. So I'm almost done with my lecture today, but now I'll just spend a minute personally. So to improve human health, I've talked about biomedical research and disease treatment, but there is about disease prevention also. And often now I'm going to talk to you about as a doctor, because बहुत सारे मरीज आते हैं पूछते हैं कि हम क्या खाना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए, हेल्थ अच्छी होनी चाहिए, कैसे करें. So this is just a little bit about that. So I think as a doctor I'm giving this advice. Ingredients for healthy life. Walking, everybody knows, still they don't walk. Say they आज टाइम ही नहीं मिला. लगता मैंने घूमना शुरू कर दिया. कब से? बस पिछले हफ्ते शुरू कर दिया. उसके पहले नहीं थे. No smoking, very important. Vegetarian diet is better. Natural products. So this is a natural product. This we have created. This is okay. This is not. Right? Portion size. How much to eat? How much to eat what? This you can eat plenty. This little bit. This very little. Nature has actually told you what to eat in how much quantity. You don't have to ask anybody. Right? And the other ingredients for healthy life, let go. Let go of offense, let go of इसने ये कहा, उसने वो कहा, छोड़ो उसको. I think this is very important. Carefree. Gossip with your friends. आजकल तो social media, WhatsApp, Instagram, there are no friends, no real friends. I think very important for youngsters to have real friends, go out with them, spend time, waste time. And actually that's not wasting time. That's quality time when you gossip with your friends and pay your gratitude. So I'd like to summarize, ladies and gentlemen, by saying the future is bright for us. We are looking at the Viksit Bharat in 2047. Surely I think we'll be there. 2034, our economy should be about $10 trillion. By 47, God knows, but could be around 40. Population size is stabilizing. Today the TFR is 2.1, which is replacement level. And I think next 10 to 15 years, we might stabilize. Medical science is making rapid progress. CAR T cell therapy that I told you cost $1 million in US is now available in India for about 30 to 40 lakh rupees. And artificial intelligence, which is a big thing, will definitely complement healthcare as well. And everyone, in my mind, over the next 20 to 30 years will have access to quality healthcare, not just healthcare. So lastly, I would like to pay my gratitudes to my parents, my family, Professor Rakesh Tandon, who was my mentor at AIMS, Dr. Manju Sharma, who actually helped me shape my career as a scientist, not just as a physician. My friends, some of them are here. And of course, Shriram Institute of Industrial Research for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us about the key role of scientific research in modern therapeutics and advancements in the field of medicine for bringing a positive change in the health scenario of the country through your scholarly and thought-provoking lecture. We are obliged to Professor Pramod Kumar Garg for sparing valuable time to share his vast knowledge with all of us today. May I now request Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma to present a memento to him. Employees are a valuable asset of any organization. In line with the tradition of Shriram Institute to honor the employees who have rendered several years of yeoman service to the Institute, we will now be presenting long service awards. May I now request Shri Alok B. Shriramji to present the long service awards to the employees. In the 35 years category, we have Mr. Ajay Nanda, a manager handling administration. Dr. Sanjay Rajput, heading Shriram Applied Radiation Center. In the 30 years category, we have Mr. Kishan Singh, an executive working in marketing section. In the 20 years category, we have Mr. Nagaraj D, heading Quality Assurance Department of Bengaluru branch. In the 15 years category, we have Mr. Anil Kumar Sharma, an executive working in accounts section. Mr. Dharamveer Singh, working in commercial section. Mr. Lalit Agarwal, an executive in commercial section. Mr. Sanjeev Kamal, an executive working in accounts section. Ms. Anju Bhatt, working in administration. Mr. Rajendra Singh, an executive working in EDP section. sir. May I now request Shri Madhav B. Shriram to present the Long Service Awards to the employees in the 15 years category. Mr. Mangal Singh, an executive working in EDP section. Mr. Amit Gupta, an executive of EDP section. Mr. Sumit Kumar Tyagi, an executive working in purchase in stores. Dr. Jaipal Singh, scientist working in drugs and pharmaceuticals. Mr. Pushpinder Kumar Tomar, handling library and information services. Ms. Neha Gupta, an expert in scientific instrumentation. Mr. Madan Kishore, a marketing executive. Ms. Sangeeta Sharma, a scientist working in the area of pesticides. Ms. Reema Chaudhary, a scientist in pesticides laboratory. Dr. Rakhi Singh, heading residue section of Bio Group. Ms. Smita, scientist working in residue section.
हो गया ना?
Thank you, sir. May I now request Shri Akshay Dharji to present the Long Service Awards to the employees in the 15 years category. Mr. Anish Kumar, an expert in area of metals. Ms. Nisha Gupta, scientist working in metal lab. Ms. Neelam Chauhan, scientist working in minerals lab. Mr. Abhilash P, a scientist of rubber and polymer section. Mr. Jay Singh Chauhan, an engineer working in SAR. Mr. Kohinoor Chakravarti, an engineer working in SAR. Ms. Archana Vish, an expert in paper and textiles. Ms. Adesh Rathi, scientist working in civil laboratory. Dr. Amit Kumar Pyari, scientist of infrastructure development. Mr. Rajesh Kumar Pathak, scientist working in civil and infrastructure. Ms. C. Bharati, scientist working in instrumentation at Bengaluru branch. Thank you, sir. In order to express our sincere gratitude to the speaker and all our guests, I now request Dr. Manmohan Kumar to propose a vote of thanks.
A very good evening to all. Respected Professor Prof. Kumar Garg ji, Head Department of Gastroenterology, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Padma Bhushan Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma ji, Chairperson Governing Board of Shriram Institute for Industrial Research. Shri Alok Shriram ji, Vice Chairman Governing Board of Shriram Institute. Our mentor Shri Madhav Shriram ji, Member Governing Board. Shri Akshay Dharji, Member Governing Board. Dr. Mukul Das, Director Shriram Institute. Excellencies, honored guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to propose vote of thanks today actually on this memorable occasion of 58th Founder Memorial Lecture. Today's brilliant and inspiring presentation by Professor Pramod Garg ji has enlightened all of us about the very important role which biomedical research can play in imparting or improving health of human beings. He nicely correlated improvement in our health indices with factors such as economic growth, enhanced healthcare, and advances in medical sciences. Made a comparison of our state of health with that of the developed world. The examples of Indian success stories in space, defense, and medicines were most appropriate. He also highlighted importance of research and innovation for leapfrogging. Now, the focusing on biomedical research, he could demonstrate that how biomedical research is so important for us. Sir, your years of research experience, in-depth understanding of the subject, and ability to present the subject in such an interesting way have made it one of the most memorable evening today. On behalf of Shriram Institute management and staff, I would like to express heartfelt gratitude to Professor Pramod Garg ji. May I express my profound gratitude to our chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Manju Sharma ji, for her presence and support, guidance in organizing the event, and suggesting such an eminent expert for today's function. We are really lucky to receive her valuable inputs and encouragement in all our activities, which help us to choose the right path. Thank you, Madam. I feel honored and privileged to thank our Vice Chairman, Shri Alok Shriram ji, Shri Madhav Shriram ji, and Shri Akshay Dharji. They have always been a source of constant inspiration and driving force to our scientists in their various endeavors. I would like to thank our director, Dr. Mukul Das, under whose leadership and meticulous planning this event has been successfully organized by SRA family. My sincere thanks to Dr. Mrs. Anju Shrivastava ji, Principal Hindu College, for permitting us to organize today's event at this beautiful auditorium and providing all the necessary logistic support. From the inner recesses of my heart, I wish to thank all the guests present in the audience who, despite their busy schedule, have taken time out to grace this occasion with their presence. I would like to express my profound gratitude to the senior government officials, distinguished diplomats, scientists, academicians, especially the young students who are our torchbearer, future entrepreneur and unicorns. All our sponsors and members of media who have honored our invitation and contributed immensely to the success of today's function. Last but not the least, I would like to express my hearty thanks to Dr. Mrs. Meenu Talwar and Mrs. Leena Thapar for nicely comparing today's event. To all the staff of both Shriram Institute and Hindu College and for their constant support, untiring efforts and teamwork for making this program a success. I want to conclude this vote of thanks with 2 lines of a shloka in Sanskrit. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramya. Wishing peace and health for all. Thank you very much.
With this, we have come to the end of today's program. We hope that you have enjoyed the program and will again oblige us with your gracious presence in the Founder Memorial Lecture 2025, which would be the 59th in the series. Wish you all a good evening. May I request you all to join for refreshments. Our volunteers will escort you for the same. Thank you.